Shekamo, that just like haroeh, just like a shepherd, menahel edro, conducts his flock, umanhigam, and leads them.
Ve'ika is conducts.
What?
Ve'ika. Ve'yakov. Okay, sorry.
Yaakov to wrote to shepherd Yaakov, Jacob. Jacob, Amo, his people. The Jewish people are sometimes called Yaakov also. Yisrael is another name for Yaakov. Shekamo, that just like haroeh, just like a shepherd, menahel leads Edro, his flock. Okay, you with me?
Yes.
His flock. Umanhigam, and conducts them, and he leads them. Behashgacha pratit, with how do you say, individual care. I'll call kivsa, the kivsa, on each and every sheep, each and every lamb, or what do you want to call it? Shetiyeh, that it should be, ro'eh, that it should feed, b'mir'eh tova, on good grass or fodder or whatever it's called. Mir'eh is the food that a sheep eats. V'lo yazikua, and also should not hurt it. Hamazikim, the mazikim, what's it, the word? The damagers, wolves, foxes, right? That the sheep won't go over a cliff, they won't get run over by a truck. A good sheep, a good shepherd, he does two things. First of all, provides for his sheep good things, good food, good water, proper food. To the little sheep, he takes the soft grass. The big sheep, he takes the bigger grass. He keeps them more. And then, second thing is he keeps away the dangers. Doesn't let them eat poison stuff, keeps them away from cliffs, keeps them away from the road, keeps the wolves away, the sheep. So they won't damage them, the damagers. Kach, thus, David HaMelech alav shalom, King David, Haya, manhig, he conducted, Amo, his people, Umashgiach aleim, and he, they say mashgiach, he, what?
Watch.
He watches, but this is not just mashgiach, he takes care. Hashgacha, he took care aleim, on them, each one individually, lahashpia laem, to give to them, kol itztarchutam, everything they need. The only person I can think of that's similar to this was the Lubavitcher Rebbe. The Lubavitcher Rebbe worried for every single Jew in the world, whether the Jew was of a religious person, a non-religious person, an anti-religious person, a wise person, a stupid person, an evil person, or this, people in jails everywhere in the world. Rebbe got all letters and he answered the letter. Every single person was important. Gave them itztarchusam, gave them their necessities, baruchnius, spiritually, ubagashmius, and physically. The call nefesh prati, to each individual person me'amo, from his people. Is this possible? This is such a thing possible? And King David had, there must have been millions of people that were in Israel at the time. How could you possibly? Moshe Rabbeinu had a hard time, an almost impossible time, with 600,000 males. Let's say 3 million people. I'm sure that there were more Jews in Israel than 3 million people. King David worried for each and every person. Is this possible? Well, you have to remember, he wasn't doing it alone. I mean, God was also with him. So God arranged it that everybody didn't come to him at one time with all their problems. So King David worried for each and every person. He took care of each and every person. He provided for each and every Jew in the world, because all of them were living in Israel at that time. K'mo shekatuv, like it is written, v'kol davar, that no thing, Yikached will be held back Mina Melech, from the king. And no thing would be as the people said, whatever the king David would, warn them or admonish them. Al-an, Kiyum mitzvah is doing the commandments. Umatzdik as a tzaddik, and he would justify the righteous. Lechem begashmius, and so also physically. Amcha Yisrael, the Jewish people, tzarichim parnasah, need money. She'ein hakometz mazbia, says a handful of grain cannot satisfy a lion. In the Gemara Brachos. Ein hakometz. A kometz is like a handful. A handful of grain cannot masbia satisfy. It says, look on the Gemara over there in Brachas. King David said that a small amount of grain, the Jewish people are hungry. A small amount of grain cannot satisfy a lion. Lechu, go, upashtu yadechem, and begin the gedud to prepare the army. In Israel, very strange thing, but in Israel, there's two types of wars. There's what's called a milchemes mitzvah and a milchemes reshus. A milchemes mitzvah is a war that you have to make. It's a commandment you have to make. For instance, when the Jews conquered the land of Israel, they had to make this war. It was a mitzvah. But then there's also called milchemes reshus, a optional war. The king, if he wants to, can declare optional war. He can declare war on his next door neighbors, on whoever he wants to, just for money. Strange, but a king can do it. If there's lack of money in Israel, the king can actually declare war on his enemies and get money from them. Right? Very strange and interesting, but that's a commandment. If he wants to. It's part of it's not a commandment to make these wars. It's an optional war. You don't have to do it. But the king has the ability to do so. So if so, the king, why did the king do such a thing? Because he worried about the people. Hine, behold, bechinas chachma, this aspect of chachma. Chachma is the highest of the 10 sfirot. Shebemirat malchut, which is in the attribute of God's kingship. Okay, let me explain now. Each one of the 10 sfirot contains the other 10. So in other words, there is 10 sfirot, right? There's chachma, bina, dat. You know the 10 sfirot, right? So in each one of these 10 sfirot, in order for it to be complete, it has to also contain 10 sfirot, because every complete thing has 10 sfirot. And each one of those 10, which is within, also has to have 10. And each one of those 10 also has to have 10. So it's 10 and 10 and 10 without any end. Yes. But the lowest of God's attributes is called God's malchut. And this is God's malchut, how he creates the world. This is like we said before. But this also has 10 sfirot in it. It has 10 sfirot. The highest of the aspects in God's malchut, God's creative power, is called chachma of malchut. The power of chachma, which is chachma is the highest of the 10, which is within malchut. So in other words, this is not just the creative force of God, but this is the wisdom behind the creation. Why God is creating the world. What God wants from us. How we can solve the problems of the world and of our own personality. That's called chachma. This level of chachma, of malchut haya, was in King David. Masha ain't not the case. Okay, with me, Akiva. It's not the case. The Kol HaMalachim and all the kings knew that they were tzaddikim gedolim, that they were big tzaddikim, v'chachamim, and wise people, ma'od. Shahari, because Bishlomo and King Solomon, Ne'amar, it says, Vayechakem mikol adam, that he was wiser than anyone, than all men. And also Chezkiyahu, we also said the King Chezkiyahu, the one that was supposed to be the Mashiach, Shalo Haya, there was not He'arat Chachma, but nevertheless there was not the ray, the aspect of Chachma, Milamayla, from above, Le'ir Bayam, shine in them, Le'inyan, as far as Hanhagat, the conduct, Malchutom, their kingship, Al Derech Hanal, like it was before with David. Period. King David had an extra measure of this wisdom, of this, if you want to call it godliness, that Hainu, namely, benitzutz haprati, in their particular part,